having Mr. Oscar Gonzales here. Oscar's been working with me for approximately a year, a little more than a year on the lead generation side. He's the brains behind the Alpha Lead program and our free lead program. And David loves him. I love him, of course. And so I brought Oscar in really to talk about lead generation in general, where things are as far as final expense and insurance lead generation, things that we need to be concerned about. There's some legislation coming down the pike that's going to affect every single one of you, and you want to be prepared for that. And really just to kind of help us wrap our heads around lead generation in general. So Oscar, thanks for being here. Give us an overview of your background. You got an interesting background that took you to insurance.
Yeah, I come from e-com. So I've been, even further back, I've been doing sales since I was, 18, 17 years old. And in 2011, 2012, after being in the real estate industry, owning a pretty large call center with a mortgage company, I went into e-com and I started selling products to companies like, at the time, Groupon. This is before Amazon really started. And we sold products, household goods, fake jewelry, women's clothes, all kinds of things. We had about 15,000 different SKUs. And we sold all of it through video advertising, affiliate marketing, using, at the time, Instagram was the big platform that we used. And so through that business that we ran from 2011, 2012, all the way to about 2020, really when COVID came, my partner and I sold out of that business. And through those years, I got an incredible amount of knowledge on running ads and marketing on the product side. And we did it at a very large scale. That business got to $6-7 million a year. We hit Inc. 5000 a couple times. So it was a big operation where I really learned how to properly scale sales on a company using, again, ads. And, again, at the time, it was a lot of Instagram that we were using. But, it was a huge learning experience. And in 2020, when I got out, I was trying to figure out what to do. And a good friend of mine that I've known for many years, who had been in the insurance business, who had been trying to recruit me for years, asked me to come on board and become his media manager. Somebody that was running a big call center, buying a lot of age data, and that's how they were running their whole operation. I came on and really transitioned them from that to more lead generation, fresh leads using Facebook, TikTok. And so I did that for, just under a year almost. And I didn't want to go back in. They were offering me a partnership with this company. I didn't want to join them because I had just came from a partnership. I wanted to do something just on my own and not have a bunch of partners. And so I decided to do it, to just jump on my own. And I started looking and I found David, just like most of us do. Got contracted and got on the phones, and I hadn't been on the phones for many years because I was an e-com. But again, like I said, I come from phone sales. So I got on and I immediately started generating my own leads. I jumped right into TikTok, which is what really kind of sparked a lot of interest and propelled me and what I was doing at the time. And I think, it kind of got your interest in how I was generating leads on TikTok using video ads. And here we are, a couple of years later. I have a small team of final expense agents. We're all under David's hierarchy. I also do ACA health insurance, which is really where I started when I came into it. And in the last year and a half, I've just put together this program of helping agents set up lead generation systems to get them off of the tracks of buying leads from lead vendors, not knowing where to get leads, and just having more control. And so fast forward now, as a company, we're managing, not just, David's agency, but several other large agencies, and over $1 million a month right now in ad spend for life, health insurance ads. And, so here we are.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what is working right now for final expense and really just insurance agents in general when it comes to lead generation.
So, we're finding a lot of, it's interesting, right? Like there isn't one thing that works. There's several things that are out there working, and lead generation, just like marketing, is about testing. So it's a constant testing of different things to find little pockets of things that work, and then you double and triple down on those things until they don't work anymore, right? And so an example right now, or a shift that we're seeing in marketing, especially on the Facebook platform, is now Facebook in the last 6 months or so has been rolling out a lot of AI apps within the ad manager that are taking away control from the marketers, right? And so if you go back a year, 2 years, 3 years, it was all about like hyper focusing and targeting, right, on a specific niche or a specific person, a smoker, a veteran, all these different things. Where now the shift is where Facebook wants you to not hyper focus so much, but rather have broad searches and broad audiences and allow their AI platforms to really start converting and looking for the audiences that you're looking for. So right now, that's the big shift. And it's happening like, you know, with our ads that we're running with you and just across the board, we're seeing a larger success when you talk about cost per lead, CPAs, which are the biggest thing, when you allow Facebook the ability and not hyper focus so much on an audience, but rather let Facebook find it for you, set it certain parameters like an age range, what state you're operating in, and then allowing Facebook's AI to really go out and get better and better at delivering leads.
Is that ultimately a good thing, to lose that control as a marketer?
I think, yeah, it's tough as a marketer, because as a marketer, we always, you know, like I'm always looking at these ads and we're always like, oh, well, no, I want to be able to tell Facebook where to go look for a lead and where to find it and the type of person I'm looking for. But I will tell you that now, letting go of it a little bit and letting a year ago, it wasn't like this, right? The apps that Facebook was rolling out they were not very good. Now we are seeing that their AI, because they're spending so much money, right? They're investing so much money into these AI platforms. They work, they absolutely work. And I think as time goes, Facebook is going to want to take more control over these things, because they're more focused on their end on the privacy of consumers, right? Which is a major thing right now. And so as Facebook leans more into that, they're going to want to maintain that control and say to a marketer, hey, just give us your basic parameters. Let us go find who you're looking for. And they are getting better and better at doing it.
So for final expense ads, what kind of ads are performing well?
We always find, you know, I came into this business doing video ads, right? That's what I've always done. I very seldom will do images, because I think that a video just delivers a better message, right? If you're selling final expense and you're able to show a video to somebody, a consumer that's just scrolling through a feed that talks about, you know, dying and leaving their family burdened with an expense, and explaining those things and going into those pain points and then offering solutions, you're going to be able to deliver that message just in a much better way than an image of a casket with maybe a few words on top, right? And so video ads continue to be an outperformer. We triple down on it. We have a lot of user engagement from videos that are review type videos, right? So it could be a person that's older that's talking about the experience of them being at an age where they need to have this coverage because they don't want to leave their families burdened. And, you know, the neighbor told them about a program that is for burials and can save them money. So
think about like Colonial Penn ads and all that stuff, you know.
Right.
Grandma laid up in bed with oxygen on.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to get insurance, you know.
Yeah. You can deliver a better message.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So video ads. And I think as you move into where Facebook and all these platforms, TikTok is doing the same thing now, where they're doing, you know, audience advantages and all these different types of AI apps within their ad manager. As they take more control of the ads, the creative plays a larger role in the performance of the ad, right? Because I'm not going to be able to hyper focus or maybe target a very specific person within an audience. Facebook is doing that. So what we can control is the ad creative and the ad copy. So I think as time goes, those become even more important, that people who are doing lead generation really understand how to deliver a message properly through a creative, and then use the ad copy to double down and then get that person to click and fill out a lead form.
What's not working? Like, what kind of strategies in final expense marketing would you stay away from?
I think that not working now in lead generation more than ever are the bait and switchy things that you've seen in this industry and in most sales industries for a very long time. Things like, specifically in final expense, state burial programs, state approved, like just stuff that makes people think that it's something that's free when it's really not. That bait and switchy tactic is going away from most industries, just because we're just in an age where people have access to what's real and a lot of things on your phone, right? But you can really figure out that there is no such thing as a free state-approved burial program fund that's going to give you money to pay for your burial, right? And so now more than ever, that information is at consumers' fingertips. They become more and more educated, right? And as younger people who are now maybe in their 40s and over the course of the next 10 years become the market for final expense, where those people will come in even more educated about what's out there. I see. So if you're not delivering a real message, if you're not being honest, if you're not being truthful, I think those are the things that are not working and are going to continue to not work for people more and more, because they do generate you leads. But no agent, as an agent, I don't want to have a lead from somebody that thinks that something is free, or that thinks that they're going to get something without paying for it. That's just a big waste of time, So yeah, those are the things that aren't working and you want to stay away from.
So Oscar runs Alpha Leads for us, which is a lead management program. You pay us a certain fee a month, and then whatever ad spend you do weekly gets put right into your deposits, and you get leads back. So this isn't our paid lead program. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring this up is I'd like you to speak on, especially agents who say, I want to get into self-generation of leads. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on an agent who's just getting started or learning the business? Should they learn how to market? And if not, when should they learn?
That's a great question. So I think that there's a time and a place for an agent to get into lead generation. I don't think that every agent, especially newer agents, should jump right into lead generation, because as a new agent, whatever line of insurance you're doing, you have to learn how to sell the product first and foremost, right? Because without being able to sell the product, you're not going to be able to convert sales. And so if you take on the challenge of learning how to sell a product, underwriting, applications, all these things that come into play when we become new agents, and then on top of that, figure out lead generation and how to run a proper campaign and have it work, you're just adding more stress to it. So I do think that there's a huge benefit for a lot of agents, the new agents that come in, to either find a reliable lead source, right, a lead vendor, and buy leads in the beginning. And there are some good lead vendors out there that I do business with and that I recommend before jumping into lead generation. And then there are some folks that have a little bit of marketing background and say, hey, you know what, I can do this. I feel comfortable enough, and they take it on. But certainly, for the most part, if we're talking about a new agent where you're just learning, even if you're just getting into sales, like that in itself is just a big undertaking, right? If you've never done sales and you're now coming into a sales environment, gosh, there's just a lot to learn. I would put lead generation on the back burner and then learn that part first before you take that on.
How have you seen automation with CRMs and like Pixie Dialer help agents working those leads?
Gosh, I don't think you can do it without it anymore. I think companies like Kixie and Go High Level are providing such great tools when, if we talk about like automation, and I was just reading this article last night in preparation for this, talking about these FCC changes, which I know we'll talk about in a second, but now they're rolling out some new stuff about like texting, and the ability to text people, robo texting and all these things. it's a huge tool right now, right? If you're taking in leads and you're doing telesales, you want to have a CRM that's providing SMS engagement with every lead that's coming in. You want to be using OpenAI. You want to be using ChatGPT, all these things that can help you nurture leads. You want to be doing it. It's a setup. It takes time, but these are things that are very, very powerful tools. And then as you get, if you're in telesales and as you grow and you start getting volume, you've got to have something like Kixie, a power dialer that's helping your business be efficient and dialing, multiple lines at the same time, local number changes, all the things that some of these companies provide. It's indispensable. And I don't think you can really run a successful telesales side without some of these tools anymore.
Realistically, with leads, I think this is an important thing. Are all leads sales?
Like,
you know where I'm going with this, y'all.
Yeah.
We wish.
Yeah. So we'd be probably having this meeting at the Win if all leads were sales, right? So no, they're not. It's not. That's not when you generate leads, whether you buy them or you generate. But if you generate them, like you're not paying Facebook to give you leads. You're paying Facebook to show your video, to show your ad. You're paying for impressions, to get somebody's attention that then looks at it and says, oh yeah, maybe I want to see this, or maybe I'm interested in this. I click on it, I answer a few questions, and it takes them, seconds to fill out a lead form. And then that person is back to what they were doing, which was scrolling through a feed, watching people eat donuts or car chases or whatever's on your feed, right? And so once they fill out your lead form, they are gone, and so I talk to agents that will say, well, but Oscar, I got, 30 leads and like 10 people said that they didn't fill it out or that they weren't interested. But why weren't they interested? The video's so good, the funnel, the calendar, like AI, we have it all. And you have to let go of like your ego that these people have no idea who you are, right? Like, who are you? You're just showing them an ad for life insurance and you're trying to capture their interest. And now we have it, right? Now we have their name and a phone number. Now it's our job to go and, one, try to get them on the phone, and two, build the trust, right? Present to that person and show them what we have for them, because that's all we're all looking for as consumers. Like, what can you do for me? And until you can do something for me, I could care less how pretty your video is or how good your photos are or anything like that.
Yeah, leads can only do so much. And then guess whose problem it is? You, the agents, to do something with it, right? So the key thing I will say, especially with, and it's true for face-to-face, you have to have a sufficient volume. Part of that agent example is they bought 30 leads, not 100.
Correct.
Or 150. Because when you're doing telesales, at least, you have to have the volume, because what's our biggest problem? People not picking up the phone, right? Mm-hmm. And if you only have 30 numbers, it's tough.
It's a numbers game, right? Leads, marketing, sales, like all of it. It's just a numbers game. And so, if you can get away from the idea of like, well, why isn't this number picking up? Or why is this person not receptive to what I have to say? And understand that it's just a numbers game, then you're going to be much better and you're going to adapt quicker to the idea that, okay, if I generate, and by the way, for a full-time agent, if you're doing telesales, like no less than 100. And now I think it's probably even more, if we look at,
I've got guys doing 200 to 300 a week.
Right. And so these are guys that are writing, 20, 30, 50,000, you have guys that are writing massive numbers that are getting hundreds of leads. Right. And so you have to understand that relation that, and even a person who writes 20,000, 30,000 in a week, like that's equal to 20 policies, 15, 30 policies, but that person got 200 leads, right? So think about that, right? I got 200 leads, but out of those 200, only 20 of them actually became customers. That means 180 people didn't pick up, told me to, go somewhere else or whatever in between, right? And so as a salesperson, I've always, and again, I come from just, I used to work in a stockbroking room where we had to do 500 calls before lunch to go to lunch, and so I just understand that concept that volume, sales comes from volume, you know, and there's metrics and CPAs and all these things, but if you're not dialing and you're not getting volume, you're never going to hit the numbers. It doesn't matter how good a salesperson you are.
Questions from the audience? Anything leads questions you guys have? Yeah, John in the back. I'll let David get the mic set up there.
Yeah. Can you target an income?
You can. Yeah, on Facebook, you can target not specific income, but, you know, 5% of higher income, 10% of lower incomes. Like, that's how it's structured on Facebook. I will tell you that there was a rollout just actually last week. Facebook just posted this whole thing. They're doing away with income targeting. It hasn't happened yet, but it's all a release that they just put out, which typically means within the next 6 months, it'll roll out to like 3% of ad accounts, and then they'll keep rolling it out. Again, it goes back into Facebook wants to get away from giving you the ability to target somebody who makes $1 million versus targeting somebody who makes 30,000, because we're getting into privacy policy and we're getting into a lot of these things. So as of right now, you can, but I think soon a lot of these like targeting specifics are gonna go away.
So a lot of, and this goes back to what you're saying, the content itself will be like a trigger to Facebook to see who this should go to.
Correct. Correct. That becomes the creative that you're making, and making sure that message, if you're trying to hit somebody that makes 60,000 plus, then you maybe need to say that in the video. Hey, if you make over $60,000, listen to this, right? When you see that out there, everybody that watches, you know, and sees social media, and you see some of these bigger accounts, and you see stuff that's being driven to you, you typically will see those videos or those ads open up with this. If you own a business, do this. If you do this, if you do this. And so it becomes about the creative, for sure. Questions?
So when you were talking about video marketing, are you talking like doing like TikTok videos or Insta videos? Is that what you...
All of it. Yeah.
And then so do you have followers? Like, how do you get your followers? Like, how does that...
Okay, so you're talking about, those are two different things. So one is actually having an organic presence on social media and posting and having a following and growing and all those things, which I do recommend to most people. But what we're doing is we're running ads. So you don't have to have a following because you're paying Facebook to show you that video to whoever you want to show it to.
Heard this space of like Facebook, but like I like TikTok and Insta. I mean, you're doing that also. Yeah, same and also the same ads you're doing on platforms.
All platforms have ad managers, and you can run them. Some platforms are better than others, depending on the line of insurance that you're going for, right? So like right now, we have a lot of success doing mortgage protection on TikTok, IULs on TikTok, ACA health insurance on TikTok, because it's a younger demographic.
Right.
Final expense, when I came into final expense 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, that's all I was running was just TikTok ads.
Yeah, grandma's on TikTok. She is.
She really is. And then the China ban started, right? And that really took that audience off of TikTok, right? That older community, they got even more freaked out, and they don't want China looking at anything, you know? And so they started pulling back. And so now we will test, and we have some tests coming up on TikTok for David, but we'll constantly test because that audience can come back. But right now, like Biden says, your best results are Instagram, Facebook for the most part.
Okay.
Questions?
The cost, or are we not there yet?
Cost per lead?
Yeah, cost per lead, and can you also pick a particular demographic area, or does it have to be the world? Or
no, good question. Yeah, so no, you can still target state specific, which you have to as an insurance agent, because based on the states that you're in, that's where you're going to target. Typically, rule of thumb, the more states that you have, the lower your costs are, because you're going to be able to show your ad to more people, right? You're telling Facebook or the platform, hey, I'm in 30 states, you know, get me people that are in these states, versus, hey, I'm in 3 states, find me people that are in only 3 states. So yes, you get targeted by the state. Cost per lead really varied greatly.
So does that mean like I'm licensed in 48 states compared to somebody that's licensed in 3 states?
Correct.
So my lead spend would be much less than theirs.
It sure do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Your ad has had work. We're running an ad for you now. Your ad's kind of been up and down, and we made some changes on it.
I think a lot.
Yeah, yeah. We do some politics and stuff, and it would hurt the ad. You know, it hurt the ad.
Have you ever done testing on Pinterest?
Oh, no. Pinterest is a very good platform for product. Yes, Snapchat. Yeah, it's too young. Pinterest is such a great platform for product. Lead generation, I don't even think they're set up for lead generation type of campaigns, to be honest. Pinterest is a very, very good application to sell products, all that, but not so much for lead generation.
So when you're doing an ad, you design it. If I'm buying leads, I'm not the spokesperson, you're going to do everything.
Correct. Our team handles all of that. Yeah.
Okay.
The agent doesn't have to do any of it. And just to go back to the answer, like to give you an idea of pricing, gosh, leads can come in at $3 to $5, at $5 to $8, at $8 to $15. It just really depends. And so a lot of times I try to always talk to agencies and agents about sometimes like it's good to look at lead costs, but more important is to see cost for acquisitions, right? CPMs, which are what is it actually costing you to generate a closed policy, right? Like somebody that's paying you money versus just a lead, because and we have this ramped out with your campaigns, right? Like we might have an average lead cost of $11 on a campaign, right? Cost per lead, but the cost per acquisition is under $150, right? And so the cost per acquisition is the amount that you spend on advertising divided by the amount of deals that you wrote from that spend, right? And so that tells you what it costs you to acquire a customer. And in final expense, if you can meet under $250 for a closed policy, well, then you have a profitable business, right? Because if you think about the commissions and your payouts, if you have to pay $200 or $250 to get that deal, there's still a pretty good margin left to profit. So we try to look at that always and not always focus so much on just the cost per lead.
So this is mainly a telesales type of an arrangement. I mean, you're not gonna take a Facebook lead and get in your car and go drive someplace to somebody's house.
You can, you do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We ran some face-to-face campaign. I have several agents that we do face-to-face ads for. It's a tougher goal because again, now you're talking about like it's easy when somebody is in I don't know, I'm in Florida, I'm in South Florida. So if an agent is in the Tri-County area, gosh, there's 10 million people between, Miami and Fort Lauderdale. But if you now think a person that's in like the middle of Ocala, Florida, it's tougher to find those people leads because there aren't that many people, All
right, one more question. We're going to talk FCC rules.
Listen for you. On the, what's your opinion on just direct to mailbox, direct email marketing? Is that dead? Is that not possible?
No, you know what? It's interesting. No, I don't think email marketing is dead. It was for quite a while. Email marketing was not producing the way it used to many, many years ago, right? Like in the late 90s, early 2000s. It died for many years. Now there's actually a lot of studies, and another thing we're working on now with TIN is rolling out email marketing campaigns because people are starting to go back into their inboxes, right? People are starting to go back in and look at email. So I don't think it's probably like a foundational campaign, right? Like if I'm running ads, I'm not going to run most of my ads based on email campaigns. I'm still going to run ads and use, SMS, text message, phone, but I would add a component and make sure that every lead that's coming in, you are delivering some sort of email campaign to continue engaging and trying to get them to come back in and either call you or book a call with you or something like that. So
what's this new FCC rule and why should we care?
FCC rules, yeah. So it's a great thing for the industry, for many industries, right? It's kind of, you got to navigate through it, but the FCC rule specifically make changes to consent, right? So how somebody is targeted based on that person giving consent. So a consumer sees your ad and they fill it out and they agree to it. If you're a lead vendor up until now, and probably up until August, you can still have a little disclaimer on the bottom of that thing that says, hey, by the way, by you signing this or agreeing to this, I'm going to sell your data to every partner and affiliate and every company in the world that's out there. You're cool. Awesome. Thank you. And then they turn around and they monetize that lead and they resell it to different companies, right? Credit card company, a tax company, an insurance company. And so that's going away. Right now, it's only going to be what's called a one-to-one consent. So if that person approves and agrees to get promotional messages from you, they can only come from you. You can no longer take that data and give it to a different company or a different industry, right? And that's going to help a lot in getting rid of just what's going on now, right? If we all think about it, like how many times throughout a day are you getting bombarded with spam calls, right? Like I get them all day long.
They start at like 5 in the morning.
They start early and they go till late, they don't stop till late. I pick up every single one of them. That's what I do, right? Every single call that comes through my phone, I pick up because I want to hear what people are saying and what they're selling and sometimes I have a little fun with people and so on, and so, I kind of do that. So but the reality is that when you think about business, like if I'm getting bombarded, I'm not going to pick up a number that I don't know, right? Even if I just filled out your lead form 2 seconds ago, and now you're calling me 5 minutes later, if it's a number I don't know, gosh, there's a very, very big chance that person is not going to pick up. And so this one-to-one is going to hopefully bring down the amount of spam calling that's happening. And now the new rollout of the rule is they've included SMS as part of the national do not call register, right? Which wasn't happening before. So now if a consumer registers their phone number in the do not call, it's not just for calls. It is for text messages, right? That just got approved by the FCC. And so now the FCC is pushing heavy into SMS and texting because that's how most of us are now communicating. So there's going to be some more changes coming. It feels like every month or so they're updating and rolling out new things. The biggest thing here is that, look, if you're generating your leads, you don't have anything to worry about, right? Because that person is consenting to you calling them or sending the messages. The issue really is for lead vendors that are monetizing data to different industries and different verticals that are out there, which is a massive, massive business. And I don't know what's going to.
This is good for the consumer, right? Like it's going to lower the volume of calls. It's going to make the purpose of picking up the phone valid again. And so you're probably going to it's going to take some time. You're probably going to talk to more people than you are today because the intent is direct. Yeah. If you think about user experience with software and the ease of use, think about how your phone has been for the last 15 years. It's terrible. Nobody wants to use it to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And so this is good legislation. It's going to affect us in the short term to some extent, but I think the quality and the experience will ultimately outweigh it.
Well, and I think just the opportunity that lies, right? Because as agencies, and David made a huge push into this and controlling your own lead generation because I think part of it was seeing what's coming down the pipe, right? And that's that if you're an agency, and I deal with it with other large agencies that are transitioning from buying this age data, right? They're buying this data that's being monetized and they're buying it for cents. And then they pump it through dialers and that's how they're generating business. And they've done great up until now. Well, what's going to happen to them in a year, right? And so now you have a massive push into lead generation, companies trying to control their own marketing. And I think if you start now, the ones that do are so ahead of the ones that aren't doing it yet and that are going to have to scramble to get in and all that stuff. So
any final question on that?
So how will this new rule affect a lead generation company that's generated a lead, but maybe they were sharing it with 2 or 3 agents previously. Can they now only share it with one agent now?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There are certain loopholes, like you're already seeing. I've already read some companies that are out there, like the bigger players in lead generation, companies like Quote Wizard, right? These are the big boys in lead generation. They're already working loopholes in how they're going to get somebody when they fill out a lead form, right? They're now going to present the person, hey, by the way, we also have this option for you. Would you like to hear this option? And so that consumer is now going to click on something else and give a consent to someone else. So they're not going to go away, right? They're going to find ways to continue to monetize one piece of data, but I think it will be done in a much more organized and hopefully better way for everybody.
I know, like I was at PNC for a while, like, I was a State Farm and our lead was doing also
5 other people. Yeah, that is going to go away quite a bit. Yeah, the shared lead business, that's going to go away. I think it'll go away solid, What else?
Would you say Medicare ruined the telephone?
John, what do you think?
Yeah, so as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think, look, elderly folks are heavily protected, right? And so, yes, I think that you saw these campaigns from a few years ago that were having the Joe Namath, all these things that were going on. You don't see Joe Namath on the street anymore talking about, helping people with their Medicare and all that, right? Because I've moved on to a different product, now I'm in D&E, that's no better. But anyway, the point is I think Medicare definitely rule. And I think just more than ever now, the FCC is seeing that, man, there's a lot of complaints about Medicare. Yeah. Medicare and D&E is a big one too.
Have you ever reached out to the dig agency agents like myself and called them? Because I did get a phone call from someone, lead generation, and they were talking about this, they were talking about that, and I said, well, why don't you send me an email and I'll look at it, I'll get back to you. And I never got anything. I don't know if that's not us. That was not you.
No, we don't typically.
I just bring it up.
Yeah, no, I don't. We have a setup where there's videos on school you can follow if you want to join the Alpha program, and we're making some good changes to it, which we'll talk about next week. But that was it. That wasn't you guys. No, that wasn't.
Who else? Questions?
All right, Oscar. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.